Peruvian nose job topples president.
Australia says "nar" to Candace Owens.
And who says size matter? Cape Verde is going to the World Cup.
All this and more on this week's episode of News Sensation.
Hello and welcome back to News Sensation. I'm Matty Curry.
And I'm Chris Patel. And Matty, I've
missed the introduction of saying what we do in the show.
Well, I'll tell you what I do outside the show. I get rich. See, this week, I am the proud winner of a £10 bar tab because I won a pub quiz.
Oh, excellent.
I did indeed. People were trying to go real topical, like we tried to go with the team names.
Oh, really?
We had the purported ceasefire this week. We had, Quizraeli ceasefire, Benjamin Netanyahu answers. It was all kinds of things that we probably shouldn't say on the podcast. What have you been up to this week, Matty?
I'm trying to think of what was the name of the Sweet Home Alabama parody. Was it...
Do explain. This is so funny.
Right. So the US ambassador for the Israeli state was joined on stage in a sort of melee-style concert, just to really mix our international affairs.
Yeah.
And as they did a full parody with all the words changed of Sweet Home Alabama, but it was Sweet Home Jerusalem? Something like that. It was like a very strange pronunciation of Jerusalem. That's like, I don't know. But anyway, it was tough. It was tough.
There's been so much like crazy news this week, which we're going to bring you some of. That didn't even make the podcast.
That didn't make the podcast. No. The concert where, including one of the songs where they said the United Nations called us crooks, but Donald Trump says it's all Israel, like it says in all the holy books. Bars. No. Behind bars is, I think, actually much more fitting. No, it's not one of the strangest stories that's made it to this week, where we do take you through the weirdest and wildest stories of the week that was. Finally got that in there. And you know what? We often say on this show, please do send us in stories, rather than just me finding these randomly on social media, such as Sweet Home Jerusalem. But the one person actually took that to heart. Our good friend Kit, friend of the show, sent me this story and said, this has you guys written all over it. Listen to this one. Tensions flared among Wirral councillors at Merseyside Town Hall on a Monday night during a debate about the asylum seekers staying in the former King's Gap Hotel in Hoylake. It's very new sensation for anyone listening to the show before. Now, Labour councillor Paul Martin accused the Conservatives of headline grabbing and being desperate to sound tough as they try to emerge from Nigel Farage's shadow. He cooked. But meanwhile, the Conservative councillors struck out at the Green Party. What are we saying fuck me for? Well,
they're going after yassified Rachel Reeves.
They really are. They accused them of being dangerous. That's right. And encouraging more asylum seekers by, let me get this right, going down to Hoylake and sharing flapjacks.
Ooh,
whoa.
I'm quivering.
As Kit quite rightly pointed out, amidst all the stop the boats rhetoric, this might be the first case of stop the oats.
Hey, that's very good, Kit.
Thank you, Kit, for sending that in. And if you want to send us any stories that you find, you can email us at newsensationpod@gmail.com.
Or you can check out our Instagram or our TikTok. So Instagram is, I check my notes to see which one it is because they're slightly different. Instagram is News Sensation and TikTok is News Sensation Pod.
And our TikTok has been doing pretty well this past week.
It has.
We're loving all the love that we're getting. We're loving all the arguments in the comments. Keep it coming.
Keep it going. We're a forum for debate.
Yeah. I mean, this is the marketplace of ideas.
Maybe I can get another 10 quid bar tab out of it.
It must be said before we get on with the stories that when the quiz team that you're a part of did share a side-by-side of when they came dead last and when they came first, and the central difference was that you were with them when they won.
And one of our other friends who always proclaims that he's cursed with knowledge was not with us when we won.
Not with us. With us in spirit.
Yes.
I was not there, but I do love a pub quiz. It does always go off the rails, though. The politics of pub quizzing is quite heavy, but is it as heavy as the politics of Peru? Well, this past week, it's really gotten out of hand. That's because Dina Boluarte, the president of Peru, was removed from office last Thursday after parties from across Peruvian politics, that's right, this joined them all together, and it's a crazy bunch, voted to oust her, citing permanent moral incapacity.
Ooh.
She joins the seemingly ever-growing list of 21st century presidents in Peru to leave office shrouded in scandal. This story goes back quite a way, but for Boluarte, it's sort of been a bit of a nightmare. She's currently under investigation for bribery, pretty standard as we'll find out, and for her involvement in the deadly crackdown of protests across 2022 and 2023, which left 49 civilians dead.
Wow.
Yes.
Light day for a Peruvian leader.
Yeah, very steady going, easy business. Now, last week was emblematic of a chaotic year in Peru, which in itself is a tale of the times. In March, a state of emergency was declared in response to a crime wave that swept the nation following the killing of popular musician Paul Hamber Flores Garcia on his band's bus. There's a drive-by shooting where he was on the bus, and apparently, according to the police, they're investigating motorcycles driving past and firing at the bus.
My God.
Crazy. He was there with his band. Not whoa.
Hey, wait, what?
No, guns. Missiles off the back of a motorcycle is insane.
What word? I wonder what word I heard as missiles. I'm a bit under the weather this week, so you'll have to bear with my early onset dementia.
Chris misinterpreting guns as missiles. It does sound like certain intelligence agencies overblowing their opposition. But anyway,
doing what's their opposition?
What? Boluarte, well, they certainly do overblow a lot, let me tell you. Boluarte took the opportunity to call for the death penalty to be extended amidst this national emergency.
I would like to take this opportunity to...
Yeah, while we're on the subject, now, this is not a great look given that Amnesty International reported in May 2023 that the actions of the Peruvian security forces during that crackdown on protesters included extrajudicial executions. Yeah, and widespread use of lethal ammunition, while in none of the cases was evidence found that the deceased person posed a risk to the life or integrity of the officials.
It must be a great year to work for Amnesty International. You have no shortage of things coming across your desk.
I'd say great year wouldn't be...
Well, it's not great for the world, but it's kind of why you probably got into the job.
Yeah, it's a busy year for Amnesty International.
It's a busy year.
I mean, if you're working for Amnesty, which I think a lot of it's voluntary, do you want national emergencies across sort of like developing economies?
I would feel I had a sense of purpose.
Yeah, okay. I see where you're going with this. Anyway, as a result of this Amnesty report, in 2024, the International Federation for Human Rights, who again were having a great time in all of this, and Peru's Association for Human Rights, even better time, brought accusations to the ICC of crimes against humanity.
Oh my. I mean, that is just the best time at work.
Yeah, that's when you're like, oh, that's the juicy stuff.
We got crimes against humanity. The whole office erupts.
That's the liquid lunch of a human rights association. It's like, oh, get us going. Anyway, this in turn prompted Boluarte to sign an amnesty bill, not quite an Amnesty International style bill though, because it passed in this, it was signed into law this past August, and it granted impunity to the armed forces, the police, and self-defense committees for their actions during the protests.
What's a self-defense committee?
I think it's a very loose term for a group who were sort of banding around it.
Right.
Now, here's the language that they've used, and it sounds very similar to the language used, let's say, by Kyle Rittenhouse.
Spanish.
No, he'd be furious about Bad Bunny. I know that boy is furious about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. He does not speak a lick of Spanish. But he, which I mean, allegedly doesn't speak a lick of Spanish. He also allegedly shot a bunch of people during the Black Lives Matter protest. Well, we know he did, but he allegedly did it in self-defense. And again, self-defense committees covers a wide range of groups, but basically they're off the hook now,
right?
Under Peruvian law. Now, this isn't even the bonkers stuff. Yes, the stuff that makes this story so new sensation. I've led with the important, heavy, let's get down to it. Because in the summer of 2023, Boluarte got plastic surgery on her nose, fair enough, a procedure that re-emerged this year as a constitutional crisis.
What?
Yes. Boluarte was accused of abandoning her post because she didn't fulfill her constitutional requirement to inform Congress or delegate her powers during her almost 2-week absence.
Is it insensitive to say that to be a Peruvian politician, you might need a reinforced nose?
I think that's more over a couple of borders in Colombia, but
perhaps. Although Paddington Bear's caught strays this past week.
Paddington Bear, we know he likes the cocaina, yeah. Well, no, actually, allegedly. Studio Canal.
No, please.
We're not saying anything. Spitting Image would have you believe that Paddington is a fan of the gear.
Check out our last episode for more on that.
But the only sugar we know he likes is in the marmalade. That's all. That's all we're saying. Allegedly. I wonder if Paddington or Aunt Lucy was involved in these self-defense committees. Anyway, stranger still, she said the procedure was essential for her health, but her plastic surgeon said in May of this year, on local TV, of course, where all people with important information take their business, that of the 5 procedures, all but 1 were aesthetic, with the president getting rhinoplasty, septoplasty, a procedure on her lower eyelids, and a fat graft on her smile lines. Boluarte didn't comment after these comments by her plastic surgeon. Now, in March 2024, a year before the state of emergency, but just a couple of months ahead of the accusations of crimes against humanity going to the ICC, so kind of just...
Sweet spot.
Yeah, sweet spot. Boluarte's home and the presidential palace were both raided by police amidst the Rolex Gate scandal. Yeah, you thought the rhinoplasty was bad. Wait to hear about the Rolex. Boluarte was accused of illicit enrichment and failing to declare her ownership of several luxury watches. And we've heard this defense before, Chris. She claimed they were a loan that she mistakenly accepted. Now, if anyone's handing out these kind of loans, I'm prone to mistakes. Send them my way.
Where did I put my original nose? I'll never know.
Oh my God. So much to unpack. But this is just the tip of the iceberg in Peru. Who wants a rapid roster rundown a la our reform rundown from a few months ago? Me. Since the ousting of President Alberto Fujimori in 2000 and his conviction on charges of corruption, embezzlement, and that old chestnut, human rights violations, including authorizing a death squad... He's the textbook. He's the blueprint.
At this point, you are disappointing if you don't authorize a death squad as leader of Peru.
So true. Disappointing, again. It's a bit like a great day for amnesty. Is it really? Now, Peruvian politics has really been one battle after another. Shout out PTA. Great movie. His successor, Alejandro Toledo, who ruled from 01 to 06, was sentenced in 2024 to more than 20 years in prison for the millions he received in bribes from the Brazilian construction company Odebrecht. Remember the name. He was followed by Alan Garcia from 06, 2011, who killed himself in 2019 on the day he was due to be arrested over his involvement in Odebrecht. Yeah, basically, of the string of presidents, Boluarte joins the many who are under investigation, and one who would have been banged up if he hadn't banged himself up, let's just say. Yes.
What are these guys building? Odebrecht.
Great questions. It was money from illicit campaign contributions from Odebrecht and from the Venezuelan government that saw the next president, Ollanta Humala, who ruled from 2011 to 2016, saw him sentenced this May to 15 years in prison. And this is where we hit turbo time. Forget these 5-year, 10 years. Forget about it. That's behind us now. Pedro Pablo Kaczynski, 2016 to 2018, resigned over Odebrecht and is under house arrest. Martin Vizcarra, 2018 to 2020, dissolved Congress after a year and was removed for his own moral incapacity and is currently in pre-trial detention over bribery charges.
And in Peru, dissolved might mean with acid.
Very well could be, allegedly. And here's a point why I insert 2 interim presidents, with one resigning after a week. And then we're on to Pedro Castillo, 2021 to 2022.
Streets won't forget
Baller, who was taken into custody for alleged crime of rebellion after attempting to dissolve Congress and setting up an emergency government, or trying to set up an emergency government, I should say. Who was Castillo's vice president and then successor? Boluarte. In short, Peru is being run like a League One club.
Well, no wonder Paddington illegally migrated over. I got to say, Odebrecht, it must be rainforest stuff. Well, I'll look into it and I'll probably put something in the description.
Okay.
It must be like, if you're giving people this many like consequential bribes, it must be the rainforest.
Well, I mean, there is a lot to be said about like the the deforestation business that was thriving in Brazil for quite a while there. So yeah, there's a lot to be said. But yeah, the Odebrecht scandal is a whole other episode of news sensation.
Indeed. Well, speaking of money, what if I told you there was a way to stop paying your TV license, your council tax, your utility bills? Well, you'd then know I'd swapped bodies with Britain's only bill avoidance influencer. Well, I say only, actually. There's more than one, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, Manchester's very own Stacey Wilkinson drives up and down the country for 60 quid an appearance, telling audiences that they can stop paying their bills or get a refund on those they've already paid with no consequences.
That sounds great.
It does. In a now deleted video on Twitter, failed everything, Lawrence Fox, encouraged his followers to avoid paying council tax to protest against digital ID. Now, I must say, protesting against digital ID, he's a man after my own heart. I think maybe a broken clock is right twice a day. It's like when Piers Corbyn, famed anti-vaxxer and brother of Jeremy, protested against cashless shops by nicking strawberries. You've seen that video.
Right, so here's the thing. You're saying a stop clock is right twice a day.
But perhaps right on the issue.
So but so are you saying that the official position of News Sensation is don't pay council tax and steal strawberries?
Well, no.
Because I would like to say that's not the official position of the podcast.
The official position is don't listen to Piers Corbyn, Lawrence Fox, or Stacey Wilkinson.
Okay.
Because not paying council tax can land you in deep, deep trouble.
Indeed,
it can. So Stacey Wilkinson says her followers have scored £4.75 million in refunds for energy bills, car finance, water bills, and other household costs. At the same time, local council tax arrears this year have surpassed £6 billion for the first time ever.
Wow.
So many councils are facing lack of funding. Some are going bust. It's a real crisis.
Yeah.
And Stacey claims that 10,000 people have attended her talks in person and on Zoom in the past 4 years. And almost 20,000 people follow her on Instagram and Telegram.
Oh, red flag.
Red
flag. Come on.
If you ask someone out and they drop their Telegram,
run.
Get the
run
hell
for
out
the hills.
She regularly deletes Instagram comments that she disagrees with,
which we don't do. We just respond with mocking gifs. I think
the only ones I delete are drug dealers.
Yes, very
Get
true.
them out of here. She's had quite a tumultuous life. So a Sun article came out in 2019 entitled "I put myself into care at 17 to escape my abusive home life, then lived in a council house, and now I'm set to make 100k."
Wow.
There's even more ups and downs than this, because she was a recruitment headhunter, then worked as a DJ at weddings and on the radio.
This is the average career path in your 20s in this generation.
Yes, it's true. Moved to Japan, started a masters, transition. Like, there's a lot of ups and downs in your 20s.
That sounds like what GB News think the first semester at university is.
They're teaching trans-Japanese masters courses. With your money, but not with Stacey's money, actually. But then apparently COVID slashed her income, so she started cleaning toilets at Tesco.
Yeah, fair enough.
The Sunday Times went along to a meeting that Wilkinson held in London, where she gave a lot of advice, some misleading, some illegal. She insists that she is a human being, not a legal entity, and she refuses to consent to being the occupier of her home. If only it were that simple.
Yes, I mean, that's really something. I love when people apply like a sort of loose sort of spiritual philosophy to the law.
Yeah,
it really
you are not Walt Whitman. I think even he probably paid council tax.
Oh, captain, my captain, and my council leader. Yeah.
But I just can't imagine it.
I can't.
She advised people to remove their house numbers and letterboxes.
Right.
Which, you can go to prison for not paying council tax, just to, in case anyone's listening thinking these are good ideas.
Just to reiterate.
If a court decides you don't have a good reason to not pay, they can put you away.
Yes.
They can also send bailiffs around to your house, as you've seen in Can't Pay Will Take It Away, and deduct your arrears from your earnings. So it may not come as a surprise that Salford City Council have two charging orders against Stacey Wilkinson for £7,700 in total.
Oh my lord, Stacey.
To which she said, "I don't care what charges are on my property or what. It's not going to get paid."
That's the most ridiculous. It's one of those things where it's that kind of whole thing. It's like, well, they can't stop all of us. They can. But it's like, it's that bullishness. They kind of go, well, all they're going to do is just keep charging things to my house. I'm just not going to keep paying. You're going to go to jail.
Yeah, and also
they send you to prison.
Even if they couldn't stop like all of us, there's still a lot of things, including the kind of unemployment benefit that she received.
Yes.
That are paid for with tax.
Yeah.
Tax money.
I always love the whole tax the scam thing, and then they complain about potholes. And it's like, the scam isn't tax, it's how the tax is being spent from the sounds of things.
I get that people have a skepticism that the government's going to use the tax well.
Sure, but that's why you vote for a party that has a good spending policy.
Yeah. You can't go fully off grid and use an angle grinder to remove wheel clamps, as she advocates. And she also uses ghost plates that are unreadable by speed cameras.
Okay.
Would it kill her to drive the speed limit? That doesn't even cost any money. Time is money. I've got to go and clean more toilets.
Yeah, nothing says like rational self-interest than speeding and not paying your taxes. It's like, wow, what an upstanding member of society you are. Again, I should point out that in Stacey Wilkinson's life, she did set out like a good course of how to be, a member of society. There's far more honour in making your money from cleaning the toilets in Tesco than there is from tax avoidance.
Well, she is gregarious, Matty. She's a gal's gal.
She's a gal's gal.
She's allowed...
Girl math.
Yeah. She has allowed a mate of hers to collect job seekers allowance under her name and her property for 3 years.
Right.
Amazing. The Times also mentions that Wilkinson is not the only bill avoidance influencer. There's Tanya, or Only Tan 888, who is also
Speaking of red flags.
An anti-vaxxer.
Right.
Speaking of red flags. The Times also saw a 34-year-old woman at the talk who said she was worried about not paying her council tax because she relied on disability benefits because she's in a wheelchair.
Fair.
To which Wilkinson said, don't rely on that because it will go at some point. I wouldn't rely on the system to survive.
What?
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Bad advice.
Famously, the choice that woman makes to be in a wheelchair and rely on disability benefit. It's like, no, change up. What? My goodness, the miracle cure.
Yeah. I now have to scoot around because I've lost my benefits.
Yeah.
What?
It's just so deranged. It's so deranged.
Another quote. What law do you know that says you got to pay council tax, TV license and water? Have you seen a law? Off the top of my head, that's the Local Government Finance Act 1992, Communications Act 2003, and Communications Television Licensing Regulations 2004, and the Water Industry Act 1991. There you go.
But apart from those, what law have you seen?
Also, we don't live in a world where we just see laws out and about.
It's so true.
We should have them taped to lampposts, just random laws.
So people just be able to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public order.
It's public order.
Public order.
You're taking a Dolores Umbridge approach there, but yeah.
I'll finish this story with my favourite TikTok comment.
Excellent.
Which said, is there any law stopping me from going to her talks without paying?
Speaking of tax exemptions, Chris. Do you want to know a big one?
My ears pricked up.
Hello? You got advice for me? Yes. If you want advice on how to have one of your main flows of income be removed from the Treasury's grip, become the king. Sound. That's right. Here's the big story of the week. Could Greenpeace sue the Crown? Potentially.
For the sake of this pod, I really want that to happen.
It'd be so good. Follow-up story.
Oh yes.
The Crown Estate, which is King Charles's property management company, has found itself in hot water for the way it auctions seabed rights, with Greenpeace threatening to sue.
Odebrecht.
As the legal owner of the seabed around England, Wales and Northern Ireland, they'll never get Scotland! The Crown Estate runs the auctioning of the seabed to renewable energy developers.
No, famously, Matty, it's our oil. Matt, I don't care.
I couldn't care less. Greenpeace UK's co-executive director, Will McCallum, believes such responsibilities come with managing the seabed in the interest of the common good, not as an asset to be milked for profit and outrageous bonuses. Which may sound obvious to some, but the Crown Estate have capitalised on a booming green energy sector by demanding large options from developers hoping to secure a patch of the seabed. At least that's Greenpeace's way of putting it. This resulted in a £1.1 billion profit in the financial year that ended in March, which is hardly par for the course because this was double its level 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, these guys want to get into migrant hotels. That's where the real money is.
Graham King is kicking himself that he doesn't have the seabed rights around Northern Ireland.
You said the king. Is that the king you're talking about?
Oh my God. It's all linked together. You got to see it with your third eye.
No, it's Charles the Last.
It's Charles the Last. McCallum has argued the government, has urged the government, to get involved, stating that given how crucial affordable bills and clean energy are to the government's agenda, the Chancellor should use her powers of direction to ask for an independent review of how these auctions are run. If the problem isn't fixed before the next round of auctions, we may need to let a court decide whether or not what's happening is lawful.
It does make you kind of proud to be British, the fact that we go to an independent review first for basically everything and not to a death squad.
Yes, it's absolutely fantastic. No one's saying extend the death penalty. And actually, I had to explain to a bunch of people the other day what Magna Carta was, which was quite worrying. But this is really interesting because this is Magna Carta in action.
We're not helping our down-to-earth image that really didn't ever exist.
No. But 800 years on, Magna Carta coming through.
Oh, yeah.
The king is not above the law. And the fact that there is a possibility that Greenpeace could take the crown to the courts, I think is actually making me very patriotic, which is rare for the moment. Anyway, Greenpeace's claims about legality do stem from their belief that the Crown Estate has a legal duty not to exploit its monopoly over the seabed, but have argued that their rationing of the supply of seabed is being done to protect high prices, raising costs for developers and their own profits. Also, McCallum's point about the government's commitment is more than relevant to this case when it's remembered that the government plans to quadruple offshore wind power capacity by the end of the decade.
Whoa.
This is the hot button issue, and the Crown Estate do hold all the marbles. And so there has to be a negotiation about, well, what's the fair way of doing this? Now, the rise in profits has been so significant for the Crown Estate that the percentage of profits going to the monarchy through the sovereign grant, and we'll get to that, has halved. The monarchy currently receives about 12% of the profits of the Crown Estate, which was lowered from 25% in 2023. But given the doubling of profit in the last 2 years, the sovereign grant has continued to grow. And again, we're going to get to that. This is also due to the Crown Estate's property portfolio in both rural areas and London, mainly around sort of Regent Street and St James's, which is kind of Buckingham Palace territory.
Yeah. On the Seabed Monopoly Board, they are expensive squares.
Oh, yeah. Its assets and capital are valued at £7.1 billion. Yes. But by all means, slap on some options, boost that up a little bit. Now, a spokesperson for the Crown Estate claims that Greenpeace has misunderstood the Crown Estate's legal duties and leasing processes, and that option fees are not fixed by the Crown Estate. They are set by the developers through open, competitive auctions and reflect market appetite. But who's running the auctions? This is the thing. So they also point to the flow of their net revenue to the Treasury. So the option fees, if they are pumping up the price of these developments, are helping to ensure that that taxpayers are benefiting from these developments, which is a sentiment that the Treasury has also echoed. So where does the sovereign grant come into all of this? We're talking crown financing, folks. Oh, it's
bow wow.
Anyway, after the Crown Estate's net revenue goes to the Treasury's consolidated fund. Are we following? Crown Estate makes the money, it goes to the Treasury. The sovereign grant is then drawn, which is that 12%, or about 12%, and what remains is used for further public investment. So there is something to be said about the fact that if the Crown Estate is making bumper profit, the Treasury is getting a lot of that money, because it's true. And while since 1993 the monarch and their heirs have voluntarily paid statutory rates of income tax on some of their income, this doesn't extend to the sovereign grant. So what you have is a 12% or about 12% slice of all the money the Crown Estate is earning being sort of skimmed off from the Treasury and given to the Crown. But why is this? It's because the sovereign grant is not personal income or an allowance, according to the government, but goes towards official business, which the Sovereign Grant Act 2011, to name more acts, lists as central staff costs, running expenses of the official household, maintenance of royal palaces, travel costs of royal engagements like opening buildings, as well as official receptions, investitures, and garden parties. Yes. Begging the question, what else does the king do for him to spend money on? Because it sounds like all the expenses of the king are being covered, bar maybe the odd Amazon order.
Are we talking just the king or the rest of the royal family? Because we know what some other senior royals like to do for fun.
Well, very true. Were his travel costs covered in that one? Or no, because he flew private, didn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Odebrecht's plane.
Allegedly. But anyway, this is just covering the monarch and the monarch's households and the royal palaces at the monarch. The sovereign grant doesn't really deal with allowances for the rest of the royal family. But okay, here's where it gets really, really difficult. The sovereign grant for 2025-2026 is 132.1 million. In 2024, it was 86.3 million. And although they've adjusted how much of a slice the king is getting, as the more money is going up, he's getting an even bigger slice than before. Now, those better be good garden parties. Otherwise, Greenpeace might be asking some good questions about why so much extra cash is flowing through the estate, especially as the green energy developers seek to bring the cost of that palace's electric bill down. Because if we're saying that these are the necessary things to keep the lights on, well, so are wind farms. And if all you're getting is an untaxed share of what that money, or what that generates, some questions do probably have to be asked.
Matty, this episode has had more political content, enough political content to give one of my journalism tutors multiple orgasms. But as we are recording this, the longest political reign in the world hangs in the balance. 92-year-old Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon, might be about to lose the election after reigning for 7 terms.
Wow.
So Issa Chiroma Bakary, the opposition candidate, has declared victory in a Facebook video.
The official format.
Yeah.
The Cameroonian politics.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm just... even though
don't pay your council tax and I've won the election.
have you seen a law? Well, not in Cameroon. Even though the official results might not be announced for another 10 days.
Right.
This would be a real upset because Paul Biya is only the second ever president of Cameroon and he's been in power since 1982.
Good innings.
Great
innings.
Is the year Diet Coke was launched, Matty.
Right.
Yeah, and also the year ciabatta was invented.
So, ciabatta is in, the Italian bread?
Yeah.
So some Italian geezer, cracked open a Diet Coke and then went, I've got an insane idea.
Oh, that's a pairing.
That's a pairing.
If anyone's, listening and blazing right now, now they too have multiple
No,
orgasms.
You can't say that because we're going to have drug dealers in our comments again. No.
Well, to be fair, I don't know if anyone's made it through, the Local Government Act 1992 while high.
This is a
Bro,
real...
that makes so much sense.
This is a real test for the audience. The sovereign grant explanation piece is really
all our
kind of
episodes are tests for the audience. But Chiroma said he would share a detailed report of the votes by region in the coming days. How does he know?
Does he?
No, well, Chiroma's also 76.
Right.
So he's a really young'un in this race.
Okay.
He's
okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like an American presidential race.
Yeah, it does. He should probably watch out though, because at the last election in 2018, opposition leader Maurice Kamto declared victory a day after the election, like has happened here.
Yeah.
And was then arrested, with some of his reporters' rallies being dispersed with tear gas and water cannons, and some of those protesters are still in prison.
I mean, that's always a good sign that democracy has been fulfilled, and that the election is perfectly legitimate.
We'll get on to, just how much of that is really true. Supporters on both sides are actually claiming victory, based on photos going around on social media that purport to show blackboards with the election result written on them. I've got, the solution to your democracy problems. You're doing the elections on blackboards.
Yeah. It's just we win.
Some of the other candidates, though, have already congratulated Chiroma. Here's how we got to this point. So Paul Biya, that's the 92-year-old, rose to prominence and became prime minister under Cameroon's first president, Amadou Ahidjo. I think I got that.
Streets won't forget.
Streets won't forget. Baller centre back. A man he would later sentence to death
Right.
So this sets the tone, I feel.
How Peruvian.
Odebrecht. Egidio announced Bia as his presidential successor, and then the two had a falling out, which led to Egidio going into exile in France.
Right.
Then Bia won his first election with 99.98% of the vote. Well
Which, again,
done, sir.
always a great sign
Yeah.
that democracy's been fulfilled. Smash that one out the park.
Egidio was then tried in absentia for alleged involvement in a coup plot in 1983. Then there was an actual coup attempt in 1984, widely believed to come from Egidio, but it failed.
Right.
So Bia, as head of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, which
People's and democratic like that, you know what's up.
they always tell themselves for the
They
names.
always do.
He legalized opposition parties in 1990. But don't worry, he's not a Democrat. Because he changed the constitution in 2008 to remove term limits.
Okay.
Saying it was undemocratic to limit the people's choice.
He's got a great point there. FDR. Come on.
In 2013, Cameroon was the only nation to join Israel in voting against the UN resolution, Assistance to Palestinian Refugees.
Right. Here's the thing that's throwing me here. The term limit stuff, the outright refusal of human rights to Palestinian peoples, the election scandals, all different things. The Trump playbook. It's just he's bar for bar.
Told you it was a bumper year for Amnesty International.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's stealing his whole flow.
It always makes me laugh when you see those. It makes me laugh and then cry and then laugh some more. Because what else can you do? When you see those UN resolutions, it's always like free water for distressed puppies. And it's always like, no, the US, Israel, Belarus, Moldova. What the hell is going on in Moldova?
The stop killing puppies amendment has been struck down after a veto power by the United States.
Well, Paul Biya is making good use of his sovereign grants because he's governed in absentia for years, often in Switzerland for 3 months at a time, which the press always refer to as short stays.
Okay.
In 2016, the country suffered its worst ever train crash, in which 79 people were killed. And Biya was criticised for not returning to the country fast enough, pulling a Dominic Raab.
Yeah.
And his wife, Chantal, stepped off the plane in a bright pink suit as the country was in mourning. First of all, a pink suit. Darling.
It's bold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bold and brash.
Bold and-
More like belongs in the trash. Yeah.
Biya keeps a steady stream of cash flowing to international law firms, which help to promote Cameroon's media image, which ain't not doing a very good job.
I was going to say, Canada's public image. What, is Bia going to start dating Katy Perry?
Generational retirement, which honestly Paul Biya should be in.
Yes,
Maybe you'd have a baddie on your arm. Well, Chantal in the pink suit.
An astronaut on your arm.
Oh, please.
Please.
Oh, please.
Shut it, please.
In June, the US ambassador to Cameroon, Peter Henry Ballerin, suggested that Biya should think about how he wants to be remembered and held up George Washington and Nelson Mandela as examples of role models. The government then said that Ballerin was trying to sway the election, and media outlets alleged that he'd paid £5 million to opposition candidates.
Right.
Which, Ballerin says is completely
Again,
false.
not to make everything about Trump, but like that kind of comment reminds me of when that reporter said to Trump on an airplane recently about him going to heaven, and Trump was like, I don't think I'm going to heaven.
Maybe we're in heaven right now, an Air Force One.
An Air Force One. It's nice and cold now. But it's like, no, he literally just said, I don't think it's going to happen. And it's like, well, at least you're self-aware, but that's kind of scary too.
He's terrifying. I mean, reminder, Matty, Paul Biya has served for 43 years. So more than half of his population have never known a different president.
Wow.
Carl Waller, who became the first woman to run for president in 2011, said, as an opposition party, not only do all the existing rules apply to you, but they'll make up other ones as they go along. At the last election in 2018, due to apathy and fear, there was low voter turnout, which in some areas, less than 1% of those eligible cast their ballots.
Wow.
The state-run TV channel actually interviewed an election observer who was identified as being from Transparency International, who said... He said that
so good.
He said that Cameroon's elections were extremely good, and extremely good.
Thank you, Transparency International.
And I don't think there is a way you can cheat. But Transparency International don't have any election observers in Cameroon. And also the group who are on screen have no ties to Transparency International.
Of course they don't.
No. Ahead of this year's election, Paul Biya's daughter Brenda, who was an LGBTQ advocate and rapper who goes by the name King Nasty.
Sick. So sick.
Also, bold. Like, bold to be an LGBTQ activist.
Yeah.
Like, bold to be Brenda.
Yeah.
Because of your dad. Told the country not to vote for him, but later issued an apology.
Oh, got a bit of time.
No backbone Brenda.
No backbone Brenda.
No, it's a tough position, isn't it?
Yeah. Rock and a hard place.
So going on to the rising star, the young 76-year-old Issa Chiroma Bakary, who's claiming to have beat Paul Biya. He was imprisoned for 6 years without charge for his alleged involvement in a failed coup against Biya in 1984. After
the one that Ahijo was said to be the one puppet mastering in absentia.
No, in absentia, Biya was going after Ahijo, but Ahijo made Biya the man he was today. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
This is the ungification of new sensation.
To get really partisan, one of us would have to speak French and the other English, because that's like the schism that's in Cameroonian politics right now. But after after Chiroma's release, he joined an opposition party. But then Biya appointed him as transport minister in 1992.
Right.
So he's imprisoned him for 6 years without charge, and now appoints him as transport minister.
It's a classic thing. Try and placate the person who you know has that dog in him.
Yeah, well, it continues, because in the early 2000s, Chiroma announced the formation of a resistance front against Biya and became part of the opposition coalition again.
Okay.
So what did Biya do? In 2009, he appointed Chiroma to his government as Minister for Communication.
Please, just take the job. Just take the job. Please.
He lasted a while, but he resigned in June of this year. So that's a good, 14 years?
That's a good...
post?
Yeah.
But Akere Muna is another one of the candidates who I don't think he's going to win. But he's a 73-year-old barrister who's known as Mr. Clean.
Why is he bald?
Well, I don't believe he is bald. Fact check in the show notes.
Check the show notes.
We fact check the important stuff over here. But he promises to end corruption, even though he's represented the Biya government many times. And then there's also an image making the rounds online that purports to show Mo Salah on the ballot paper.
Right. Okay. The Egyptian king.
The Egyptian king. Well,
is this the imperialist ambitions of the Egyptian state right now?
As we'll find out later, I think the indomitable lions have a way to go before they can get Mo Salah on side. Analysts were expecting Biya to win this, and possibly rule till he was 100 years old, which would make him the oldest ever serving head of state.
Yeah.
But who knows? Will we know by the time this episode comes out? Maybe, maybe not.
The news will drop the moment the episode drops.
Yeah, everything.
We know the rules.
Literally, Angela Rayner stepping down, the killing of Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
I was listening to one of the old episodes where something happened. All the good news happens on a Thursday, and that's why we record on a Thursday.
Well, again, good news is a bit like a good day for Amnesty International. Is it good news or is it new sensation worthy?
Indeed.
And speaking of something that's just, it's so new sensation. Oh, yes. Last year, Australia's government refused Candace Owens' visa on character grounds.
What? Character?
I know.
Candace
unbelievable.
Owens?
Now, on Wednesday, the country's highest court unanimously rejected her bid to have this overturned.
The kangaroo court?
That's great.
Thank you.
Well done, sir. Owens, a conservative in the American context, it should be said.
Stop killing babies. No.
Where the only thing they seem to be conserving is white supremacy, which again is always ironic when it's Candace Owens. It's like, what are we doing? Anyway, she plans to do a speaking tour of Australia and New Zealand, but late last year, both countries denied her visa. New Zealand overturned the denial last December with an immigration official citing the importance of free speech.
Now, I get why you'd cancel it, but that is kind of the opposite of what this is.
Yeah. But Australia have that dog in them, or would it be a dingo in this instance?
That Chiroma in
them. She wasn't so lucky with the Australian authorities, with Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke using his powers under the Migration Act to refuse her visa for failing the so-called character test. With there being a risk Owens would incite discord in the Australian community, as she is known for her controversial and conspiratorial views. Candace Owens?
No way.
Candace Owens? No way.
Brigitte Macron is calling.
Well, funny you should say that. She is currently facing a defamation suit brought by the Macrons after Owens repeatedly pushed the baseless rumour that Brigitte Macron was born a man, which is also kind of rooted in some insane sort of pseudo-religious conspiracy theories that have been banding around like the dark corners of the internet for the last 10 years.
Yeah, and also down to the misidentification by Candace Owens of one of Brigitte Macron's male relatives in a book.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know who that is. Is Brigitte?
Yeah. There's something to do with kind of like a cult of sort of more out there Christians in like the 17th century that eventually becomes the Jesuit priests who taught a young Brigitte Macron when she was a boy.
Patreon episode.
Then, Patreon episode, we'll get to that. Anyway, last year she claimed she would stake her entire professional reputation, which, I mean, that's not much.
A thimble.
On it. And a bit more bulk to it this time. In August, made a wager with Piers Morgan on his show.
Honourable man.
Friend of the show.
Watch ITV's The Hack.
The wager was worth $300,000 in a charitable donation, where she basically said, Brigitte Macron's a dude. And Piers Morgan, having one of his rare moments of enlightenment, went, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
I'll take you up on that bet. Burke, this is Tony Burke, not Candace Owens, also cited her extremist and inflammatory comments towards Muslim, black, again, so ironic, Jewish and LGBTQIA plus communities, which generate controversy and hatred. Pretty much. Now, he acknowledged that Owens' ability to incite discord through social media would remain, but pointed out that her actual physical presence in Australia would amplify that potential, especially given Australia's terrorism threat level rising from possible to probable just last year, amidst what the National Domestic Spy Agency reported as an increase in extremism.
That's chocolate digestives getting brought into the offices of Amnesty International.
Amnesty International just made a huge pizza order. Yeah. It's like the Pentagon.
We're gonna be here a while, guys.
We're gonna be here a while, but it's all vegan sourdough pizza, of course. Owens' lawyers tried to tackle the constitutionality of the Migration Act, but the High Court decided that their constitution implies free speech limited to governmental and political matters. Basically saying, yeah, right, mate. Owens' lawyers subsequently tried to argue that Burke had misconstrued his powers. The High Court rejected this too and ordered Owens to pay the government's court costs. Fuck off, pay up. There's yet to be any information on Owens still visiting New Zealand despite the overturning of the visa refusal. So they may have given up for nothing. Here's some additional shits and giggles for you all, folks. This one's really great. Tony Burke, who's on a Hall of Fame run, also stripped Kanye of his Australian visa after the release of Heil Hitler. Yep. Which, I mean, you can see the point.
A sentence that would have incinerated hype beasts in 2015.
I know.
What? He released what?
Yeah,
he made graduation, though.
He made graduation, though. And speaking of incinerating the mind of someone 10 years ago, it is because, obviously, Kanye is married to Australian-born Bianca Censori. And so they've been visiting for the last few years, and Burke said, no.
I've got a lovely island nation that they could start holidaying to instead, Matty.
Oh, do
Although
you?
I think they will corrupt the wonderful spirit that's been there this week, because Cape Verde became the second smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup. They're roughly the size of Sheffield.
That's insane.
Small caveat, there are more teams in the World Cup this year.
Yeah.
So a little bit easier to get in. But they are an island nation off the coast of Senegal. They have 525,000 people.
No way.
The only smaller nation to qualify was?
I don't know.
Iceland.
Oh my
in
God,
2018.
of course.
Where they
I would have thought Iceland, and this sounds insane, but I would have thought Iceland would have more than 500,000.
You would think, because they have about 320,000, I believe. Basically, all of their country was in the stadium when they were when they were celebrating at the Euros.
That's the thing
World
of
Cup.
like surface area. We look at a country and go, there should be people there, right?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. But it's not been a straight road to the finals for Cape Verde. They kicked off their 10-match campaign with a 0-0 draw at home to Angola.
Clash the Titans.
And a 4-1 loss to Paul Biya's Cameroon.
They got that dog in them.
Also failed to qualify for the African Cup of Nations. So maybe, Gianni Infantino's expanded World Cup is easier to get into than the African Cup of Nations.
I'm sure he'd love that.
World football is cooked. But they rely on the diaspora for about 50% of their players to Cape Verde, often coming from Portugal, France, and the Netherlands. In fact, 6 of their current national team of 25 come from Rotterdam.
Okay, but do we need to check their grandparents' birth certificates?
Oh. No, Matty's not being racist again. That's a reference to our...
Again? What do you mean?
To our Malaysian story last week.
Check out last week's episode where we talked about how the Malaysian Football Association has been in hot water for allegedly fudging some birth certificates of some players' grandparents.
Indeed. More on that will probably come out. We'll have to do a big kind of like roundup of
at the end
here's
of the
stories
year.
with loose ends.
Yeah.
I know, for example, that Dr. Phil's Merit Street Media is crumbling.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, we covered on the show
so early
quite
on.
a while ago about how he was following ice raids around. You're like, do you know who I am? Not the question.
Not the question.
Do you have a lawyer, I think is what you're meant to say. But Alex Chismich writes in The Guardian, the key to preparing these diaspora players was integrating them with a core group of homegrown talent. To achieve this, Bubista, who is the manager, focused on strengthening Cape Verdean identity, embodied by Cape Verde-born veterans such as Vozinha and Stopira, who started their careers in the local semi-pro league, where salaries are about 200 to 300 euros a month.
Yeah. That's pretty insane.
That's not very much. That's love of the game stuff.
That's love of the game stuff. I mean, I was going to say, I sort of hesitated because I was kind of like, how do I lead into this joke? But like, you could really see if this wasn't written in The Guardian and instead was written in like The Spectator, that someone would be arguing that it's what we should be doing with like Razor Ruddock because the England team isn't English enough right now. Even though it categorically is, and they're playing some good football.
Is that what Razor Ruddock's up to now? Writing like right-wing polemics?
No, but he's like he was the most English player I could think of.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, not to say anything about Razor.
Still a friend of the show.
Apparently, Razor is a pretty sound guy. I don't know about his politics.
How did he get the name Razor? He dissolved the Peruvian parliament.
Yeah, it used to be the case, and I think it still is in the UK in some areas, where if you've got a name that makes you sound very dangerous, you're the biggest softie.
Yeah. There's a couple of notable players in their team. So centre-back Steven Moreira won the MLS in 2023.
Wow.
With Columbus Crew. Dublin-born captain Pico Lopez, who joined the squad after being contacted on LinkedIn and leaving it in his message request for months because he thought it was a joke.
He was too busy playing LinkedIn Queens. Or whatever it's called.
LinkedIn Queens, man. You gotta get on that. It's honestly like crack. Told The Sun, we'll play anybody in the World Cup. We don't mind. Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, England. Doesn't matter who it is. Well, I like his confidence. Pico Lopez is on the verge of captaining Shamrock Rovers to a 5th League of Ireland title in 6 seasons. And until he joined them in 2017, he was a part-time mortgage advisor.
Oh my, this team is cracked, man.
He also had to skip the celebrations because he's about to become a father.
Oh,
his wife is heavily pregnant, so...
Dude.
Yo.
Pico Lopez is on top of the world right now.
I know. The final match sounds like amazing vibes. Mm-hmm. So a public holiday had already been declared in Cape Verde before they won the match. And it was tough to get hold of tickets. They were being sold at petrol stations and pastry shops around Praia, which is the capital of Cape Verde. And it was held in a stadium built by the Chinese government as part of their stadium diplomacy tactics, which they've rolled out across Africa, the Caribbean, East Asia, and the Pacific.
To be fair, I prefer that to some of the Russian diplomatic programs in Africa at the moment using the Wagner Group. But
yes. I mean, the Wagner Group, they're obviously wrong uns. I'm sure the Chinese government were being very, very nice when they gave them this stadium. It's like them giving us the Super Embassy in London. The Sun's Grant Rawlings wrote, the build-up to the most important game in the country's history was very different to that of a big match here. Fans queued calmly for 3 hours before kickoff. There was no boozing, no burger stalls, and no aggro.
See, I'm all for the no boozing, having a good time, but I
love aggro.
You want a schlaggy little burger, don't you? Salutations! Shout out my boy Jensen, man. What
You've really confused me there.
Are you not aware?
No, that was so funny.
We'll link it in the description.
Yeah.
The football's lower league saviour right now.
We saw 3 second half goals from Daylon Rocha Livramento, who plays, I believe, for Hellas Verona in Serie A in Italy. Willie Semedo and 37-year-old Stopira,
Unk.
Unk, absolutely. And not by Cameroonian standards, but by Cape Verde standards. And that goal sealed the deal.
Excellent.
Stopira had retired a couple of years ago, but returned for this campaign.
Oh, it's absolute cinema.
Again,
absolute
Cameroon,
cinema.
take notes. Retire, but don't return.
Okay.
The Blue Sharks, which is the name of the Cape Verdean national football team.
Sick.
They beat Eswatini in
The
this
Jets?
game. Yeah. They do. They have like a little fish on their flag, don't they, Eswatini?
Oh, right.
The minnows.
Yeah, very true.
They beat them 3-0 to top their qualifying group, ahead of Cameroon, who came second and now must go to the playoffs.
Oh, dear.
President Jose Maria Neves compared the country's World Cup qualification to a new independence. And
Wow.
a load of these like news outlets have gone around Cape Verde being like, is this the biggest thing to happen in football? And they're like, it's the biggest thing to ever happen anywhere ever.
It's so
What do you
good.
mean football? They won the match exactly 100 days after their 50th anniversary of independence. Which,
Wow.
you know, that's pretty big. And the question remains, Matty, could they win the World Cup?
It's entirely possible.
No.
Oh, okay.
They've won trophies before. The Amilcar Cabral Cup in 2000
That's what I'm saying.
and the Lucifonia Games in 2009. You'll never sing that. Lucifonia Games is a multi-sport contest for Portuguese-speaking nations.
Right.
Stopiro was there.
Oh,
He was in the
my
squad.
God. In 2009?
In 2009, real unk.
Dude.
Who knows where Cape Verde will even be playing? Not to make it about Trump again, but Trump said he would pressure FIFA to remove games from a venue if he didn't like the city's politics. But regardless of that, Cape Verdeans have high hopes. Technical director Rui Costa thinks
Wait, sorry. Hang on. Whoa.
not the same guy.
Not that Rui Costa.
No. I don't think that Rui Costa is from Cape Verde. I think he's just Portuguese.
Yeah. But like, he could still be the technical director.
He could. I think this is a different one. We will clarify, but I'm pretty sure it's a different one.
Okay.
He thinks
I got so excited for a second now. I was like, Rui Costa.
Rui Costa thinks it could change everything for the nation.
Wow. And if you feel like your everything has been changed by this episode of News Sensation, then please subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Spotify. Check out our prior episodes. Tell all your friends about it. Follow our Instagram and our TikTok.
Your everything has been changed it reminds me of one of the comments on our recent TikTok which said, if Nigel Farage brings 996 in, I'll reform his face.
He's been Chris Patel.
He's been Matty Curry.
Ta-ra.